So, for everyone who don't know, this is my sister. Look at the camera.
I don't know which camera to look at.
This one.
Hello.
So, the last time she came on the podcast, I think it was like a month before you were flying out.
Yeah, less than. I think it was about 2 weeks before I left.
She went off for like a year and a half of traveling. Started off your traveling trip in Thailand. You did Southeast Asia. How was it?
Yeah, best experience. Like the amount of growth that comes with it, the times where you get lost, don't know what you're doing, budgeting. The very first day I got there, I remember.
I was just going to say that. Do you remember the first day?
The very first day, the girl tried to take public transport from the airport to her hostel. And I got on the wrong thing, couldn't find the right train. And then I ended up somewhere and there was the bus stop that Google Maps said was there, was not there. And I called you panicking. I'm like, don't tell Dad, but I don't know where I am. And the only way to get somewhere was to get in one of those tuk-tuk. Yeah. Did northern Thailand, then I took a slow boat to Laos. It's Laos. Okay. Vietnam, Cambodia.
Yep.
Met up with mum and dad. Went to Bali. And from there is when I sorted out my working holiday visa for New Zealand. When you book a tour and you're not even enjoying it, like I said, it was muddy and it was wet and it was awful. And I was like, why did I book this? But you do have those lows, I think. And that's what makes you grow and learn and appreciate what you have at home. And every time I think I spoke to mum, she was like, you're not going to quit now. She's like, you've never quit at anything before. There's been so many lows where I've called home and be like, I'm done now, I'm tired. I said this to you before, like as an Asian girl going out by herself, I was more proving it to society, if that's what you want to say. Some of our family members, people that weren't too keen on me going on my own, unmarried at that age, why am I not focusing on my career? Why am I not getting married? Why am I not having children? Why am I not buying property? That kind of thing. So maybe it was proving that I can do this and I can be happy doing it.
Welcome everyone to another episode of the Unfiltered podcast, where we take the I out of unfiltered and make it specifically about you. This is the one platform where we take our filters down. We have raw, authentic, vulnerable conversations around the challenges we're all facing today. Now, if you're a fan of the unfiltered nature of this podcast and you want more of these conversations to be normalized, then why not help me help you? To get more guests onto this platform, to have those conversations that I know you want me to speak about, I'm gonna need a little favor from you. If it isn't too much to ask, why don't you hit that subscribe button right now? And at the end of the episode, if it's hit home for you, why don't you give it a thumbs up and leave a comment about what really resonates with you? Now, with that all being said and done, let's get straight back into the episode. Hello again.
Hello.
Hello.
Long time.
Hello, young blood. How are we?
All good. You?
Oh my God. We'll try and get those bloopers in as well at the beginning.
Oh,
just
God.
to see you flicking the microphone. You're such a clown.
Don't. It's so embarrassing.
Oh dear. So, this time you're on the podcast with the cameras on.
I know.
How are you feeling?
Nervous.
Why are you so nervous? Because
it's big boy things now, isn't it?
Big boy things.
Leveled up from the last
You've leveled
one.
up. You finally have been invited again to the Unfiltered podcast to get a bit unfiltered in regards to what's been going on with your life. I'm not going to lie, a lot of people hit me back up saying that episode that we did prior was actually like a really nice episode. Like it was a bit warming, a bit comforting to see that brother and sister relationship on a platform like this, and literally like me holding space, the way I spoke to you, and like our relationship is like a bit different to other like brother and sister relationships. So you did well. Well
Thank
done.
you. Thanks.
Well done. Not sure if it's done anything for you in regards to your Instagram and TikTok and that, but hey, look.
It's all right.
You're making a difference. You're making a difference. You're encouraging other people to be unfiltered.
It was very unfiltered, so...
It was very unfiltered, but we're going to take a little different turn from it. So, for everyone who don't know, this is my sister.
Hi.
Hi, yeah, you can look at the camera.
I don't know which camera to look at.
This one.
Hello.
So, the last time she came on the podcast, she, I think it was like a month before you were flying out?
Yeah, less than. I think it was about 2 weeks before I left.
Yeah, so... She went off for like a year and a half of traveling. So we're going to get into a bit of that in regards to like your story of traveling, your ups and downs, and we'll just let the conversation fly from there. And then after that, because I went traveling the year after you, and then I only did 3 months, came back, and I had like a little different realization of like how the world's working, and like basically trying to then just be comfortable with how everything's going on right now. In terms of like my friends or what my family are doing, etc., people getting married and stuff like that. I know you've had your own adjustment, and I feel like it'd be like a good conversation to go into that as well.
Yeah.
So let's get into it. Like in terms of you left in January. January, right?
Yeah.
January 2022.
Yeah. 2023.
Oh, it was January 23.
Yeah, very beginning.
Jan 23, you disappeared and you started off your traveling trip in Thailand. You did Southeast Asia. You wandered around and had your own little experiences there. Talk to us a bit about that. How was it?
Yeah, best experience. I think it's really important for people to travel on their own.
Yep.
The amount of growth that comes with it, the times where you get lost, don't know what you're doing, budgeting. The very first day I got there, I remember.
I was just going to say that. Do you remember the first day?
The very first day, the girl tried to take public transport from the airport to her hostel. And I got on the wrong thing, couldn't find the right train, couldn't find the right bus. And then I ended up somewhere and there was the bus stop that Google Maps said was there, was not there. And I called you panicking. I'm like, don't tell Dad, but I don't know where I am. And the only way to get somewhere was to get in one of those tuk-tuks.
Yeah.
And they were charging so much. And I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? I was exhausted. And you told me to just book it on Grab or whatever. Yeah. Did that, did end up paying a little bit extra than I probably should have. But yeah, got to the hostel. And then once I had my first meal, you guys didn't even hear from me after that, really.
No, well, we did hear from you. But what's funny about that story is you got there like a hero and you got given the advice, just get a cab from the airport and go straight there. And you're like, nope, definitely don't want to do that.
Doing it backpacker style, so you got to take all public transport.
No. When you're in like countries like Thailand, I feel like you should make the most of cheaper transport, because getting an Uber in London is very different to getting an Uber out there. So I would milk that, and I did when I went. No trains, unless I necessarily had to, because there was nothing available. Just get a cab, because it's that comfort and that ease of mind. Like as soon as you got there and you unpacked, you were fine.
Yeah.
So,
but I think for me, I was adamant to do it like a proper backpacker.
What do you mean? What's a proper backpacker?
Getting on trains, getting on public transport, trying to understand the language. Like it was all in Thai.
But you're going to do that eventually throughout your trip. You didn't have to do it on day one.
Yeah, but I was ready. I was ready to go. I refused to take. I never really took any like pre-book cabs the whole time I traveled.
You picked up the phone calling me, and you're like, I don't think I can do this. I want to come back home. And you say that now, yeah, like you were fine after your first meal. No, a couple of days later, you still feel the exact same way.
Yeah, because it comes in waves, isn't it? Once you start making friends and you going out doing things, you're seeing the actual country, you're eating and everything's good. I don't miss home at all, but there was obviously, it's the uncomfortableness. It wasn't London. I couldn't understand how to get where I needed to get to. Google Maps was not leading me to the right places. And then the only people that are offering me is all the tuk-tuk drivers. And I didn't want to get taken advantage of in terms of like how much they were going to charge me. I'm a girl on my own. You can clearly tell I'm not from here. So
I think that's one thing you should take as a lesson. One, you worked hard to be where you are right now to go travel. So don't try and cut yourself short in regards to like experiences like that. I know you haven't later on in your trip anyway, that's fine. But I think it was a good little lesson for you that you can power through with in scenarios where it's very, very uncomfortable. Like you didn't know what to do. Yeah. I think you said to me like your thing was hanging off the tuk-tuk, your bag and but these are experiences. That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
And so you carried on in Thailand. You went around. You did, I think, like Chiang Mai.
I went to north. Yeah, so I didn't do the south. I went straight up to the north. That was the first 10-hour
bus journey,
and that was awful because it was freezing. You don't know when they're stopping. You don't know when you can go to the toilet. But once I reached Chiang Mai, I think for me that was one of my highlights because I really like Chiang Mai.
Yeah, it's a lovely place that is.
But yeah, did northern Thailand. Then I took a slow boat to Laos. 2-day slow boat to Laos.
Wow.
It's Laos.
Lao.
Okay. Then Vietnam.
Yeah.
Vietnam, Cambodia. Yeah. Met up with mum and dad.
But didn't you do the loop first?
Ha Giang Loop was in northern Vietnam, yeah.
Yeah, did the loop.
That was amazing. Cambodia, met mum and dad there. And then together with them, I flew to south of Thailand. Did a bit of the south. And then that's where I did my paddy. And then I was tired and I was like, right, need to go somewhere else. And the plan was Philippines. Yeah. But it was, weather was bad. It was cyclone season. So went to Bali.
Yeah, you did.
Did a bit of Indonesia. And then from there is when I sorted out my working holiday visa for New Zealand.
So yeah, within the space of, and you did this, you took your time doing this.
I did about a month in each country.
Yeah, that's a month in Laos.
No, Laos was 3 weeks. Laos was difficult.
It was close to a month.
Yeah, it was 3 weeks, yeah. Everything was 3 weeks plus.
Yeah, damn. Yeah, I did like 3 weeks in each place when I went. I just got to keep it moving. Like I've done Vietnam before, but
Thailand was nearly 2 months because I did north and south separately. Yeah. Really long time.
No, it's good. It's good. I'm glad you enjoyed it. You had some interesting low moments while you were out there. Some scary. Like tell us some of the stories that people like that won't like the fascinating part of when people go to, like, say, traveling holidays, and I say it myself, is the fact that you'll go there, you'll have a great time. Oh, you should definitely do it. It's amazing. But there are some, like, big lows you've had while you're out there.
Yeah.
I think there was one where you mentioned you were in a coach journey and you got stopped off somewhere and they had no accommodation for you, or no one was there.
Yeah.
Break us down that story.
So I did back-to-back tour with Ha Giang Loop and Sapa. That's both northern Vietnam. So it was meant to be 5 days, 3 days Ha Giang Loop and 2 days in Sapa. So when I took my overnight coach from Ha Giang to Sapa, I was supposed to get there around 6 o'clock in the morning, and my tour started at 8. Now, I probably should have asked the question, what was I supposed to do between those 2 hours? But I assumed because I've booked a tour, most of the things, like I said, I did public transport and I booked it on my own. But I went through Jasmine Tours and they had booked it all together. So yeah, so my coach was supposed to get there at 6, but actually it was 2 a.m. by the time we got there. And the coach just stops you off in the town. And if anyone's ever been to Sapa, there's nothing there. It's everything was closed. It was night. It's very quiet and it's freezing up there. And the coach just dropped me off. Obviously, language barrier. I just showed him my piece of paper. Literally, that all I had was my booking on it, and he didn't know what to do. It just showed that I had a tour that started tomorrow. It started at 8 o'clock.
6 hours later.
Yeah. So I was like, where am I supposed to go for these 6 hours? So whenever you get off these coaches, you've always got people hassling you, or will drive you to wherever you're staying. I didn't know where I was staying. I didn't have an address. I just assumed that the next place was, they were just going to pick me up. I didn't book anything. I didn't sort anything out. So I ended up calling the provider on WhatsApp, and it was like 2 o'clock in the morning. He did answer, and he was like, he didn't know where I was staying himself. They hadn't actually booked me somewhere to stay. So he gave me the address of the hotel where my tour was going to start. He was like, go there. So I went there. It was about a 10-minute walk away. So I walked. It probably wasn't wise because it was really dark. It was a bit dodgy, but walked it there, but everything's closed. And I saw the hotel, knocked on the door, but the lights were off. And the guy, no one was there. So I called the phone number, and the guy said, I've got no bookings. I don't know who you are, kind of thing. And I was like, well, my tour starts from here tomorrow. Can you speak to my tour provider instead? So he opened the door, let me in, spoke to the guy on the phone. They were chatting in Vietnamese for a while. And he's like, I don't have any space for you today. And I can't even book anything myself. I've got money, I can book a hotel, but it's 2 o'clock the next day, right? So I can't book anything until the following day. So I was like, can I just sit here for a bit, in the reception area? There's a little bench. I was like, can I just sit here until my tour starts in the morning? And he was like, I'll try and figure something out. And he was faffing around. Half an hour later, he's pulled out one of those deck chair beds and put it in the luggage cart room. And he's like, you can sleep here. Gave me a blanket and a heater. It's freezing in there. He's like, just lie to sleep for a little bit, and your tour will start at 8 o'clock. You can come for breakfast. So I was like, okay. Gave me a hug. I was so close to crying, but at this point I was so tired because I'd done a 3-day tour on the back of a motorbike. I was like, I'm knackered now. Just literally brushed my teeth, lied down for a little bit. I took a picture. There's not even a lock on the door, so I just put my backpack in front of the door to hold it in place. In the morning, someone just walks in. Let's say it's about, 7 o'clock. Someone just walks in because it's a luggage cart room, right? So the other people that are staying in the hotel are coming to take their luggage. And I was just like, okay, whatever. Got up and just got ready, had breakfast, and then my tour did start. But it was actually hot. Sapa is one of the muddiest, wettest places in Vietnam, and so the mud was up to my knees. Yeah. It was not a great thing to do. It's a funny story, but you have to, when you do book tours and stuff. This is why I don't like booking through other people. I like to do it myself because then I'm responsible. Yeah. But yeah,
it's one of those miscommunication things, and they do happen, and especially in countries where they haven't got things to the T. Like you said, everything's all paper, right?
And nothing's on time. I was 4 hours early. In the guy's defense, I was supposed to get there at 6. Yeah. I probably would have had 2 hours to just sit and wait for my tour.
Which would have been normal. Probably had coffee ready or something where you could have just had a little sip.
And breakfast was at 7. So really, the guy wasn't in the wrong, but I got there at 2 o'clock. Where am I supposed to go? You can't just leave me in the road.
I hear that. But like I said, these countries, it's I know when I got buses and stuff, they said, it's all fine. They give you a little piece of paper. I'm like, there's no confirmation on this. I know when I was doing stuff, when I booked myself online, you got the email just to show someone.
Yeah.
But when I did things through, say, hotels, not hotels, hostels and stuff, all right, I guess you just run it. And then,
everything's like that in the whole of Asia.
They look at the paper. Yeah, okay, cool. And I was like, I could be anyone for all
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
but
They don't check anything, and it's just really, it's really random over there.
It's interesting though, because it's like a nice little adaptation, because like we've got things so secure here in regards to your invoice, your receipt, etc.
Yeah.
Out there isn't, but you still find a way of getting by.
Yeah, and everything runs on time. Like, I don't know about all the other countries, but I know particularly in England and London, everything runs on time. If you're getting a train and it's leaving at 5 o'clock, it will leave at 5 o'clock. The doors will close 30 seconds before.
In England?
Yeah, in general. I mean, obviously you get delays, but when you compare it to Asia, where something is supposed to leave at a certain time, it could be an hour and a half later.
I don't know, because when I was in Japan, that was like precise.
I'm speaking more
Southeast.
more underdeveloped. Yeah.
Fair. No, good. So that was one interesting story.
Yeah.
And I know you had a few more, but I don't want to like dabble too much around into like say the traveling experience. That might be something that you should do.
Okay.
Privately. I think that'd be like a nice little blog you can talk about. But one thing I admire in regards to like say that story in particular is the fact that like, yeah, you called mum, you bawled out and you said your piece and you just carried on.
Well, I said to her, I was like, I think I should come home. Like, I'm tired. Because this was probably, I was nearly 3 months in now.
Yeah.
I was like, Mum, I'm tired. Like, as fun as traveling is, it is so fun, it's so amazing, but it is tiring. You have to organize everything by yourself. You're constantly packing and unpacking. You never stay anywhere for more than 3-4 days. Like, you live out of your bag, you eat what you can eat. Like, you just keep going. And for someone who's really rigid with their routine and schedule, that was the main reason I wanted to go and try and shake that off, to be like, can I be more flexible? And it's hard, like being uncomfortable is hard. And especially when you book a tour and you're not even enjoying it. Like I said, it was muddy and it was wet and it was awful. And I was like, why did I book this? But you do have those lows, I think. And that's what makes you grow and learn and appreciate what you have at home and like the systems that you have and how everything's set in place.
But then don't you think like it's taught you a lesson to like be less structured?
Yeah.
And go with the
flow. Yeah, 100%. Yeah. And it's so nice the way that things turn out. Like I made, like when you're making friends with people and like the stories that you can share, like it's great. So no, getting out your comfort zone is very important. And yeah, I still carried on. Every time I think I spoke to Mum, she was like, you're not gonna quit now. She's like, you've never quit at anything before. There's been so many lows where I've called home and be like, I'm done now, I'm tired. And Mum will,
me
because you give me tough loving.
Yeah,
you'd be like, no, you'd be like, go on, then come home or do this. Like you just give me.
I kept asking you to come back. What are you on about?
Yeah, you told me to come back, and I knew I wasn't ready to come back. I hit a low, and it's just like I just need a bit of motivation to be like, come on, girl, you can carry on. You got this. You can get through anything.
There's that, and I also feel like you were trying to prove something, and I remember you saying it. I don't think you were trying to prove yourself anything. It was more trying to prove to other people, and don't try and like say you weren't.
I don't think I was trying to prove it to
You're
anyone.
like, yeah, no, like I've come out here, I've got to prove it that I can do it, and like to who?
I meant more to
I kept telling
myself
yourself, and I kept telling you this
to come back, but it's because I knew I wasn't done. Like I wanted to accomplish it. I wanted to do
what?
like 6 months traveling. That was my goal.
What is? Yeah, no, but don't say it was your goal, because I feel like you definitely were trying to prove something to someone. And I don't know who. To the wider audience of people watching, or whether it was...
I think it's more like I said, I said this to you before, like as an Asian girl going out by herself, I was more proving it to society, if that's what you want to say. It's proving it to the society. Some of our family members, people that weren't too keen on me going on my own, unmarried at that age, you know, why am I not focusing on my career? Why am I not getting married? Why am I not having children? Why am I not buying property? That kind of thing. So maybe it was proving that I can do this and I can be happy doing it. Because I wasn't really happy at home working, like I wasn't happy anymore. And I was like, this was the next thing I wanted to try for myself. I think it was more, I didn't want to give up on something that don't feel like I fully put enough into. I think any goal you try in life, you need at least 6 months before you really see a change or you really grow from it, in my personal opinion.
I agree.
Don't give up straight away. Give it 6 months.
You got to give yourself some sort of sufficient time to see some sort of change, right?
Yeah.
Change isn't going to happen in the first couple of days or in the first couple of weeks. And depending on, like you said, your structure and your routine, you've got to get a little bit comfortable with what the new norm now is going to be to then see a different response. And I feel like some people are impatient on that, if we talk about it from a goal perspective. But I hear you. I do hear you. I am like, when I try to hone in regards to like what particularly went on for you while you're out there, you did do a lot, and then like you said, you went to New Zealand to go see some family. and then like you just ended up, you got a working visa out there, which you're quite proud of, and you were able to like just stay out there.
Yeah.
You worked in retail, you worked in the school, so you did a little bit of different kind of career stuff out there.
Yeah.
You moved out of like the family place to like live by yourself and have some independence. That was the story in itself. And then we all then met up the year after.
Yeah.
So fast forward it to like say February, March time next year.
Yes, I did. Yeah, about 9 months in New Zealand, and then met you guys.
That's a separate story in New Zealand, because I feel like there were highs and lows.
So many, yeah. There's so much to talk about, because I moved to another country without coming back home and getting my things, which were always important to me. I didn't have a job. I didn't have the currency. I didn't have anything. I just went to another country and thought, I'm going to live here now.
I think part of that, the interesting realization is, and this is like this is not us throwing shade on family, but you seeing how what's determined as family live a different life to how you possibly live a life here. And it was that eye-opening situation that it's not so, I wouldn't say the word fairy tale-y, like you can just go somewhere and everything's exactly the same. No, things are completely different.
Very different, yeah.
And like I realized that like when our family in London versus our family up the country, there's a big difference in terms of the lifestyle and like I would say even like the family bonding is very, very different.
Yeah.
Not a bad thing, it's just different.
Yeah.
And you going abroad to be with family and then realizing that, hang on, you ain't seen these people in like what, 15
when you've only
years?
probably seen them twice in your whole life.
And now you're living with them for a bit. It's a massive weird kind of adjustment.
Yeah.
It was good to hear that obviously people took you in and you could stay with people.
Yeah. But I stayed with family for the first 2 months.
Yeah, it was quite cool that you were able to like find your own feet and knuckle down. And,
I think it gave me a lot more of the experience of living abroad by yourself. Living with family was great, but then they were my safety net, if you know what I mean. And then after 2 months of getting comfortable with the country, I was like, right, I want to try and do this on my own now, you know.
You reckon you could do that in another country where there wasn't any family there?
Yeah, 100%. I think New Zealand was just because it was in my heart that I wanted to live in New Zealand, and coincidentally we have family there. But I would have done the same if it was Australia or Canada. But again, we do have family in Canada as well.
This is my
I
point.
think it's nice to have family, and I think it helps out like mom and dad be a bit more okay with it because they know that she's got family there. Like dad, all of a sudden, dad was checking on me every single day when I was traveling on my own. But when I got to New Zealand, I barely heard from him because he knew I was staying with family and I was safe and being fed.
my point being though, like, do you reckon you could do?
I think I could do
like
now. Well, I've but don't forget, I've just moving to Suffolk by myself was a big step. No family there.
Still, like 3 hours away from like your mum and dad isn't that much of a big deal versus being a flight away.
Yeah, I think I could do it again. It's whether I want to do it again.
It's not something you want to do.
Well, there's two sides of it because I really want to live by the sea, and I really would happily live in Australia. Like I genuinely liked living there, and I think the lifestyle is better there.
Yeah, you went there for a month, right? You did. Like, don't say you
6 weeks. 6 weeks. No, but I stayed with friends, right? So
you did.
I stayed with my friend twice, so got to see like the working lifestyle of it as well. Really liked it. The only biggest thing that made me want to not live in New Zealand and come back home is when like I missed birthdays, I missed weddings, but what hit me is the funerals and when I was sick, because that's when you need your family. Like when obviously we had
you just showed that you didn't need it because you powered through without it.
Powered through, but it hurt. Like it really hurt seeing, like watching, it was like COVID all over again. It was like watching the funeral on my phone at stupid o'clock in the morning, seeing my family like crying, distraught, hurt, and I can't do anything but watch a video. I can only send a message. I can only make a phone call. So that's what hit for me because family is very important. And I felt like there was nothing I could do from where I was.
I feel like in those scenarios, and this is something that your mindset will possibly shift towards in the event where if you do move abroad and you want to live abroad or if your career takes you there, is the fact that like in certain scenarios, like these emergency situations or when things are tough, you can book a flight.
Yeah.
Yes, it's going to cost, but if that pain or that grief or whatever it is that you're feeling, you want to be around loved ones, pay the fucking thing and at least be there. You can always go back. Yeah, no,
100% you can. I think I did ask mum, like, should I come back? And she said, it's fine. There's not much you can do.
You should, right? Like, I think if you really wanted to.
I could have, But obviously I was working as well.
No, that's fine. But it's one of those things like later on in life, you're going to realise that if you were to like live in America, for instance.
I could take a plane home,
It's like, well, I kind of want to be there for this birthday or be there for this event, etc. You come back and there's going to be times where you're going to be like, look, my life is out here right now.
Yeah.
You've got to be somewhat selfish in that as well.
Yeah. I think that whole 18 months was the most selfish I've ever been in my life. And I fully just put me first. Like,
what's that like?
very, very sad. Like, it was horrible. Because we've always, I don't know about you, but I've always felt like I put my family first before everything. Like, we're looking after our grandparents for 10 years. I put my education first. I've just never really put myself first. And I think that was the first time that I did that. And it felt selfish, like missing your birthday like that. We didn't talk, remember, for like a good 2 weeks. Because I said, you're not going to come back for this person's wedding and that person's wedding. And I'm like, I don't know. I felt bad. I didn't go to one of my uni friends' weddings. Like, it felt awful that I couldn't go to those things, and the most I could do was FaceTime in those moments. Thankfully, technology allows us to do that, but it's not the same. Miss Dad's 60th birthday, like those things hurt me. Like, wasn't proud of it. I felt bad, and I think that's maybe it's the people pleasing, or maybe it's just the fact that I'm really close to my family. And for me, memories and those things, you don't know what tomorrow's going to hold. You don't know when they're going to have a next birthday, or when they're going to have, those celebrations for me are what's really important. So essentially, that was what made me feel very selfish, and I felt bad. I remember I was scared to tell you, I don't know if I'm going to come back. And I was looking at tickets to come back. I was trying to come back for Christmas, and then instead I got a second job to keep me busy so that I wouldn't miss out on the fact that I wasn't at home.
I hear that. Because I admire the selfishness, because I tell people, like, you've got to put yourself first.
Yeah.
I think I even told you, like, towards my birthday, look, don't come back, because honestly, I'm doing like a family get together, and that's that. And then I might go out, but respectfully, you don't need to stress and be too worried about it.
Yeah.
And I think like that's one of the things that you have to own. Like you said, your childhood, same like with mine. Like we've always had that mindset to like put family first, or like be there to support one another. But I also think within that, we have lost the lesson to put ourselves first in that scenario. Yeah. And like I've picked up on like certain family members when they've decided just to go on holiday for a birthday. They know it's a birthday, and we've always used to celebrate stuff, and nope, we're still going. Yeah. And then there are times where people have like cracked on with their life and they've just moved on, and it's more of a case of, well, you kind of have to put yourself first in these scenarios. Yeah. And I respect it. Like in hindsight, when I possibly was upset that you weren't coming back, that might have just been me being selfish to say, yo, I miss you, man. Why are you not at home? Kind of thing. Yeah. And that's what hurts. It's not even like I'm doing this on purpose because my life is more important than yours. It's not really feasible. It's not really working out. I feel I don't want to miss it. No, but that's the truth is your life is important than mine for you. And like mine is more important than yours for me. Yeah. You got to put yourself first. And like, if you're not happy, if you felt by coming back, you were just going to be depressed because it's like, I'm going to leave this all again, or you're going to come back and you're going to feel overwhelmed with everyone doing everything. And it wasn't right for you to come back in that moment in time. Don't come back. Yeah. I wanted to give it a proper shot. And you did. You did. I know when I did 3 months, and this is what I wanted to get into, like when I came back, I knew towards the back end of my trip, I was like, the adjustment to knowing that people are moving on, they're only 3 months away, but like friends are cracking on with X, Y, and Z, people are moving out, people are doing this, and I'm coming back to a position where I'm not going to go back into work. Yeah. I'm going to carry on with my coaching business and try and make it work. And I'm going to have to realize the fact that it's going to be a bit lonely like it was on holiday, because it's not that people aren't about, it's just that people are doing their own goddamn thing. Yeah, people move on. And life is taking over. Yeah. So I have to continue on my journey. And that's a difficult adjustment. I know you had that when you came back, because you've got friends now getting engaged and married. You had, like you said, you missed out on, let's say, I don't say you missed out, but you weren't here for like people's funerals and stuff like that. Yeah. So there was a lot for you to like readjust to. The lifestyle you've been living out yourself for how long, and now you've come home and it's like going back to blending in with how dad is and how mum is and how I am, and then like sharing a car and then getting your own car and not working for a while and trying to find a job. First few months I didn't have a car, didn't have anything, and felt trapped. I was like, I can't even leave the house. But you could, but it felt like that. Like money is very different here. I can't just like, because you weren't working here. Yeah, I think, but you know, like when I was traveling, I could just walk. I would go and see the sunset every single day. I wouldn't miss a sunset. I'd try and see the sunrise. I would eat food on the streets. Like I was living my best life. Like there's nothing. So what's more important to you now then? Being you and doing what you want to do, or going back to those old ways of having family and doing things for your friends and stuff? I think I'm really trying to get a balance between the two, because both are very important to me, myself and what I want to do in life. Point blank though. What do you mean? What's more important to you right now? I'd probably say family and friends, because I've just got so much going on. So you've still gone back to the old ways then?
I don't think I've gone back. I've learned that's what I learned when I was in New Zealand, right? The value of my family to me. Because I always used to tell you, I'll go move abroad. I don't care. I'm not fussed. But it made me not miss home. Is be there for my family and my friends, and then be there for me. That's what's important.
I can appreciate that being there for you. So that's a good change in words there. It was just more of a case of, I thought you being there for them is more important than you being there for yourself.
No, I think it's just that distance, that connection. Like, you know, when you're feeling down, you just need your family and your friends, or you want to just do something with someone.
Haven't you found other ways of dealing with that? Because you did it for
I have 100%. But sometimes you're just on autopilot. You just keep going because you have to keep going.
Yeah.
What else can you do? You can't sit there and mope, or you book a plane ticket and you go back home.
Let me give you my best example, right? Because since I've come back, I would say my closer circle has shifted in regards to the dynamics and what's going on, right? Not going to name anyone out, but like people who have moved on with their lives in ways where I don't really speak to them at all, and people where it's a little bit more fragmented.
Yeah.
And somewhere there's still conversation, but they ain't down the road anymore like they used to be. And there are still times this year, even though last year I was working a full-time job, this year, where I'm like, I'm alone.
Yeah.
I probably haven't played as much golf as I'd like to have played, because I say that golf is my therapy, but sometimes going there alone just doesn't feel the same anymore.
Yeah.
And it's knowing that, look, you got to just crack on and get on with these things, but it's not a nice feeling. And what I'm trying to get used to now is I have to rebalance my brain, whatever these feelings are telling me. I have to go into here and realize that, Prue, you decided to like go down this journey. If you stay down the other journey, you could still meet your friends out in London for drinks. If you just try to commit to this one person who you feel like you're settling with, you could possibly do all the coupley things that everyone else is doing. But you've chosen not to do that. You've chosen to still turn up on podcasts and interview people. You've chosen to grind at home when it comes to coaching. You've chosen to go down the entrepreneurial route when all your friends are working a full-time job. You're being very different. You're being used. You have to humble yourself and realize that this might be a lonely journey. But the flip side to that is everything I've been accustomed to and what I normalize is being with my friends, right? Doing things with them. But they're not doing what I'm doing now. So maybe I now need to find people who are on this journey.
Yeah.
And I realized when I was in Bali, as a great example, everyone's just traveling, having a good time, letting their hair down. It's
the people that you meet. They're on your wavelength.
They are on so much more than just a wavelength. It's actually such vibes. And I'm not saying I'm going to shit myself out there, but in the UK, there are people who are on that same journey.
Yeah.
I just need to put myself in that environment.
Yeah.
And I might realize that the conversations I have, my Friday nights might not be so lonely.
Yeah.
Because if they're doing a networking event, or if they're going to here or there and you've got like-minded people, you're going to be in that circle.
Yeah.
But shifting from what was normal is difficult. Like golf, I love golf.
Yeah.
I don't think I was injured for a lot of this year, but like I can't, like during this Christmas period, I'd probably go maybe a couple of days in the week. I haven't played in 2 weeks. That's not like me.
Yeah.
I love it. I've actually got lessons booked in. But the feeling of being there by yourself, that novelty of doing like 4 hours alone, that ain't cool. I'd rather do it with with someone.
Yeah.
I played with 2 Irish men. So fucking hilarious. Loved them. Like old men, cracking jokes, singing, all that kind of stuff. I like playing with random people, having some form of company. Right?
Yeah.
But I'm going to have to do it with people who might understand this journey of mine.
Yeah.
That makes sense?
Yeah.
So I know I can appreciate for you when you've come back, there has been that adjustment.
Yeah. Because I'm not with, like, I'm with friends and family that I've grown up with my whole life.
Yeah.
I've changed so much. I've learned so much. Everything else here is pretty much the same. No one is on the same wavelength as me. Like the things that I enjoy, the things that I like to do, the things that make me happy are not the normal 9 to 5, the standard life that everyone else has here. And like I love all my friends and family, but they are not thinking the way I'm thinking. They haven't seen the things I've seen. They haven't lived the way I've lived in the last 18 months and all the experiences I've had. So our conversations are going to be different. Like, if anything, I've learned to communicate with so many different types of people. I was making friends with people that were like 18 to people that were like 40, 50. I met parents out there that, like on our tour, I met 2 parents that took their 2 kids out of school. They were homeschooling them as they were traveling, and they were they were such good kids. I had a great time talking to them. We were doing maths on the journey together, and then we were like playing with elephants after. Like, it was amazing. And I have a whole different view on life now. But when I come back home and I speak to the people that I live here with, everyone's on that standard pathway. You know, no one's really tried something different. Yeah, no one's ventured different. I'm the one that's different. And it does put you down a little bit because you're not as high as you were when you were with everyone else. You feel a little bit lower.
When you say you weren't as high, what does that mean though? 'Cause I resonate.
Yeah.
I resonate, but I want to get your definition on that before I chime in.
I think energy just kind of drops when everyone's talking about their day to day, their standard job, what they're doing. Financial, relationships, housing, like that's what the topic of conversation is. Like, it's always people just talking about their work, their partner, what they're like, the same standard things that I can't resonate with any of those things.
Yeah.
I have a job that I enjoy, but like I can't really resonate with having to pay a mortgage. I can't resonate with having a husband or a wife and these standard conversations that these people are having. Like, I want to talk about different things. My mind is elsewhere. Like, do you know what I mean? You feel like you're
you think you then need to put yourself in those environments?
Yeah, no, I do. Yeah.
And like, because I'm similar, and I'm like, I realize that I don't like going to the pub normally.
Yeah.
But there's times where I've just gone to the pub just to sit there, take my laptop there and do some work, because I'm like, the environment there is going to be, I would say, non-judgy people just chilling, having a beer, watching the football, right? Yeah. And there's times where I've come out here to the studio to work out here just because it's a different environment, and the people that are going to be here, you might create a conversation, you might see someone famous, etc. You don't know what could happen from that possibility and opportunity. And kind of what you're saying right now, I hear you in terms of, like, say, like that energy. Yeah. I know, like, sometimes, like, say, financially, you're going down a different path to someone else. So you took a year and a half out.
Yeah.
Someone, that's a year and a half of extra wages they've had on you.
Yeah.
Right? And your career is very different to someone else's. So that's, that's
another thing
thrown into the mix. A year and a half of you being away from possibly building a relationship.
Yeah.
You've lost out on that too.
Yeah. Everyone's now getting married.
But you've built something else.
Yeah.
And I feel like...
But people don't see those things. That's one thing that's really frustrating. Is that all those things are personal growth.
Yeah.
Like, but on paper, what is it? Do you know what I mean? Like, it's that status that you have, and I don't know if it's everywhere, but in London, like the property ladder, the relationship, the job, like the car that you live, like all those things is what people here, like they categorize you like that. Do you know what I mean? And when I first came back, I had none of those things, but I can tell you so much about all the experiences, all the growth, all the communication, everything that I learned while I was traveling, and even things prior to that. Like, I like to talk about mental health, nutrition. Like, there's so many other things that are important to me that people here, I don't feel understand that.
Yeah, but they're not going to understand it because, like, they possibly haven't had those experiences.
Yeah, but it's like the volume's been turned down, like the energy's been turned down. Like, because I don't know what to talk to you about now because my mind is so different to yours.
Yeah, and I feel like in that it's a good thing to then realize that, look, you're not going to be able to have certain conversations with those people.
Yeah.
So you save those conversations for other people who are able to dabble in that space.
Yeah.
And you just possibly either go back to those older conversations that you could hold, or you try and find a new norm between you lot right now.
Yeah.
Like, I went out last night with the boys. Everyone's in relationships, bar me and one of the other lads, and like asking us, like, so what's dating, saying like, what's that girl you were speaking to last, etc., etc. No one's doing it to rub it in, or no one's saying anything like, oh man, thank fuck I'm not in that space anymore. It's just a bit more of an open encouragement. And the conversation just flips automatically in regards to work and like gym and stuff like that. And it's like, you've got to find something within that environment of people you're in to have normalized conversations which aren't going to make you feel guilty or bad, because truthfully, you're doing this right now. This is what I try and tell every client. You're on this journey. I don't care if you're 35, 36 years old right now and you're single. What happened to you 5-6 years ago when you were in a relationship was unfortunate. You probably pretty much had a plan set up, but it didn't work out, it didn't materialize. So now you've been going about it in your own way. You've had your fun. You have been trying to date. You're trying to work on yourself. You're trying to lose weight. You're doing all of these other amazing things. Part of your journey is going to be very different to the one right now of someone who's in a 10-year relationship and now married and got kids, right? They had different cards back then and they ran with it. Maybe if you look back 10 years ago, maybe they settled. I don't know. You're not looking to settle.
Yeah.
And so the mentality is different. So you've got to respect and like honor what you're doing right now. I know it might seem difficult because everyone else has got things going on, but respectfully, no one's got what you've got going on.
Yeah, I know.
No one can go to a dating event. No one can go to a cinema by themselves. No one can like just not worry about having to sort their child out with X, Y, and Z. Like, you could go pack your bags and go another little holiday again.
Yeah.
They can't do that. They've got other things they got to worry about.
Yeah. I've got no.
In our community, we've got family commitments, and I've got to be here for this and that, and it's like that could be quite long for you right now.
Yeah.
So you've got to hone it back in and remember that like your journey is so different, and that's something I've been consciously trying to remind myself in this. Like,
Yeah.
yo, it'd be nice to have X, Y, and Z, but to have X, Y, and Z might require me stopping A, B, and C, and if I've got to stop A, B, and C to have that, I don't know if I really want to do that right now. Because A, B, and C is my baby.
Yeah.
I've got to keep putting this in it, and I have to change X, Y, and Z to just make it like say different letters of the alphabet instead, and just change that result a little bit. But it's an interesting process. So you're back now.
Yeah.
Let's just hone it back into like, so you traveled for 18 months, you're back, you've had your ups and downs, and since you've come back, you've like tried to normalize a different way of life. You're living away from home right now. How are you really as we approach the end of the year?
It's been a lot. Let's say the first 6 months was amazing because I left New Zealand, I road tripped there, traveled a bit more, met you guys, and it was that bit of home was just amazing. But it made me, I was ready to come back at some point. So I knew towards the end of the year, I also had best friend's wedding, so I knew I was going to be coming back. The first few months were really tough. Like it was really, really hard because I just couldn't fit in again. It was really hard to that transition was not easy. But then once I started working, I think I had something to keep my mind occupied. I had to work and everything just happened really fast. I had to get a car, I had to move out. And then I just focused on work. And I think it's taken about 2 months before I feel a bit more settled where I am. And it's good. And the fact that whenever there is something at home, Diwali, weddings, whatever, I can just drive back. So that's really nice. And how excited I am to come home is not like what it used to be. So I think that's really good that I've built a better relationship with people now, a nice foundation. But I can also leave and go and do my thing in Suffolk when I need that break. So I really like my alone time, but I can get to my family when I need to. So in a good place overall, but like I didn't really know what to expect when I came back. I didn't know how long I was going to stay. I was like, maybe I'll just stay till September, then off I go again. There's still so many countries I want to go and visit and so many things I want to do. But since being home, all these wedding invitations, my whole next 6 months, I can't go anywhere. So staying put. And
sucks to be you right now. Where is it that you want to go? Maybe I'll go instead.
South America.
Maybe I'll just do all those countries and do your trip for you instead. Yeah?
Yeah, there's a lot. I think the itch to go traveling again is slowly creeping up on me, and I wish I could do 6 months travel, 6 months work, 6 months travel, 6 months work.
Let's do this again then. So you mentioned that you possibly do want to travel and work.
Yeah.
One of the things we've spoken about off camera is like, and we've spoken about it here. We talked about like friends getting married and relationships and
yeah.
Does that side of life not mean anything to you right now? Because I know what you're saying. You want to go travel.
Yeah.
But then
I want to. So I've done the experience on my own. Now I want to take someone with me, but not my friends. Like I would love to have a partner and travel with them.
You don't you then need to apply a different energy to that to find someone who's on that wavelength?
Yeah, probably.
Are you doing that?
Probably not really. What are you trying to get at here?
Because like. I appreciate what you're saying because I'm very much similar. Like it'd be nice to have someone on board to possibly like if I say look I want to live in America for a couple of months or Dubai for a couple of months etc. Like someone who's like I'll back it.
Yeah.
And there's been relationships that I've been in where I've had to be like we've had to sack that off because they weren't on board for that long term.
Yeah.
And so naturally it's going to create a little bit of complication. It might not.
Yeah.
But from the jump it just seemed like I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
I'm like all right then well we're just going to have a problem when I want to do it. So.
Yeah. Like I'm very independent, but it would be nice now to have a partner to share those fun experiences with.
Are you having conversations with guys that you're possibly speaking to explain like this is what you're doing right now and this is your plan for the next 6 months and 12 months, or are you quite reserved around that information?
Depends who I'm talking to. If the person's interested in traveling as well, then I can.
You're not going to know that, right? You have to present that.
Yeah.
So the only reason why I'm trying to like get to you right now is going off tangent, but. I don't want to call it like a bit of advice, but be open and vulnerable in regards to what it is that you want moving forward.
Yeah.
And what you will find out is that people who are on board for your plan
are
going to be ones that you be like, thanks, cool, peace, catch you later. And ones who might be like, yo, I actually went to South America. This is my thing. Take my plan. Or they might be like, I'm actually going to be going in like July?
Yeah.
Are you done with your weddings? Look, why don't... And it might be something that you can work towards to get,
Yeah.
right? They might be going Thailand, South, and you might be like, when you come back with me, Southeast Asia again, or
Yeah.
go to other countries like Japan, China, all of that kind of stuff. So, but you have to be vulnerable enough and open enough to start that conversation to begin with, to then, and it's all like manifestation.
Yeah.
Start putting it to existence and seeing what then comes about.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know whether or not you're doing as much of that right now.
I mean, I've only just started that side of things, so I haven't really even got a
But
chance
it's
to bring that up.
thought though, right?
Yeah.
Because like you know me, like I've told you, like things had to like just be closed off because it just wasn't going to work out.
Yeah.
long term.
Yeah. I think it's because it's like I still want marriage, house, kids, but I just want a partner right now to enjoy a bit more life. Like I don't think I'm ready to have that very simple lifestyle. Like there's so much I still want to do and see.
You know what? Yeah, this is an interesting one for you to think about as well, because I feel like you can have both, and you can also do it alone too. So
Yeah.
one of my friends is, and I saw her on Insta recently, flown out to South America. And apparently they're doing 7 weeks out there on a tour, married.
Yeah.
So transitioning, I think, through work and going to go travel now. So amazing. One of my friends from school, I think on their honeymoon, went traveling with their new partner.
Yeah, I know like 3 different couples that have done the same thing. Like they got engaged. Some have got married and done it as their honeymoon and went away for the whole year. Other ones have just got engaged and they were like, we're not saving up for our wedding. We're just going to go travel. And they've gone to like Antarctica and everything. They met me in New Zealand and then did a bit of Asia. They've gone to Antarctica. They've done so much. And I'm just like, that's what I want. Those are the experiences I want. I don't want...
put yourself out there to then have those kind of conversations moving forward into the... I know this is going to come out in the new year anyway. But
yeah.
As you grow into 2025, it's probably a good thing to like hone in on.
Yeah.
Doing those kind of activities or putting yourself in those kind of environments to facilitate that kind of possibility.
Yeah.
That possible relationship. Because that's what I have to keep checking myself back into.
Yeah. Right? I don't want, like, I don't, like my friends were saying to me, they were like, you don't want someone to turn down your light. You want someone to bring that light back. And since coming back home, like I said, things did dip. My energy has dropped. Yeah. I'm not the same. I'm not as happy as I was when I was traveling and living my best life. So I want someone to enjoy that side of Talisha with me, not make me be like everyone else here.
Yeah, I feel like you don't want that normal lifestyle, but you do want
some elements
of it.
You want another
you.
Yeah, I want some. Yeah,
you want another you. No, I get that. Go find another you. But yeah, we're not going to make this a conversation around dating and stuff because this is brother and sister chatting. But joke. We can always talk about that behind the scenes. But love. Thank you for coming again on Unfiltered. Told you it wouldn't be that bad. Good convo.
Yeah, it was alright.
Good chill. I'll plug in your stuff. We don't need to explain who you are, but hopefully you get some more travel content out there. And just keep educating people in regards to the places you've been to.
Yeah.
And thanks for coming through, cuz.
No worries.
Not
all
bad.
good.
Yeah, you might.
You can treat me to a Vaps after this.
The only guest that's come on that's asking for like treats, you know. Yeah. Anyway, love for coming through, and peace.
Yeah, peace. See ya.
Thank you lot for listening to another episode of the Unfiltered podcast. If you've liked what you listened today, drop us a like. If you've got any comments in regards to what we spoke about, if there's something you disagreed with or there's stuff that you did agree with, drop us a comment. And lastly, if you haven't subscribed yet, give us a subscribe. Whether you're listening to this on Spotify, Apple, or if you're watching this on YouTube, every subscribe goes a long way. And look, why wouldn't you subscribe? If you like the unfiltered nature of the podcast, surely you want to be in tune to whenever the next episode is coming out, right? Anywho, I'll catch you on the next episode of the Unfiltered podcast. It's been your boy Pri, and I'm signing out. Peace.